guys, I'm going to show you how to make this scarf with this shell stitch, and it's actually pretty simple to do. You only need to know how to make the double crochet, and the shell stitches are made of double crochet, and this is double crochet too, so everything is double crochet. So I think it's pretty simple for you to learn how to make this scarf. And this is actually a 2-row repeat. So once you get the hang of the first row, then the second row is going to be the same pattern all throughout the scarf. And once we finish, the other side is going to look slightly different than the beginning, because it's not going to end on a shell like that, but it still looks pretty good. So I don't mind it. I think it looks okay. So if you want both ends to have the shell, I would probably stop halfway and then start my scarf all over again, and then at the end, when you have the length that you want, you can just stitch them together and both sides will be shells, ending in shells, if that makes sense. So also for the tassels, I only placed 3 of them, but you can do as many as you want. I placed one in the beginning, and then the end, this square here, and then the square in the middle. And I will show you how I attach these as well. So let's get started. Alright guys, so for this tutorial I use a 6.5mm crochet hook, or K hook, and I also use the Pound of Love by Lion Brand Yarn, and I still had a bunch of it left over. I would see if I can get the exact yardage that I used on the screen, but yeah, I used the Pound of Love. You're also gonna need a yarn needle and your scissors. Alright guys, so I'm gonna start by chaining 32 plus 6. So this pattern calls for multiples of 8 and then an additional 6 stitches after that. So that's gonna be the width of your scarf. So whatever size you want to make your scarf, you can chain multiples of 8 plus 6. Alright, so do the 32 stitches plus 6, and I will see you back when you have that chain done. Alright guys, so here I have my 32 stitches, and I'm just adding the extra 6 that I told you guys. So we're going to start making a double crochet on our 6th chain from our hook. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to make a double crochet there. And this right here is going to count as your first double crochet and chain 1, okay? So those 6 stitches at the beginning is going to be your first double crochet. So now we're going to continue, and we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then we are going to make a double crochet on that 3rd stitch. And this is going to be our first shell stitch. So we are going to be making 4 more double crochets into that same stitch. So each shell stitch has 5 double crochets into that same stitch. So it should look something like this. And we have our 5 double crochets into that stitch. And now we're going to be skipping 2 stitches or 2 chains, and then on the third chain we are going to make a double crochet. Now we are going to skip 1 and then chain 1 and then make a double crochet on that next stitch. Alright, so far your project should look something like this. And now we're just going to repeat the same pattern all the way to the end, and we're gonna do our shell stitch all over again. So we skip 2 stitches and then we make a shell stitch in that next chain. So remember 5 double crochets into that third stitch. And after that shell stitch we skip 2 chains and make a double crochet on that next one. Alright guys, so we're basically repeating the pattern that we just did before. So after that double crochet that you did, we are going to chain 1 and we skip 1 and then we double crochet on that next chain. Now we are going to repeat that pattern 2 more times, and I will show you how to finish the end of this row. Okay guys, so now here at the very end you should have 2 stitches left, and we are going to chain 1 and skip 1 of the stitches and then make our last double crochet on that last stitch left. And that's how we're going to finish off. If you chained the right amount of chains at the beginning, you should have that exact number. So you should always be left with 2 stitches at the end to finish your row. So here I have mine, and if you followed my exact pattern, you should have a total of 4 fans or 4 shell stitches. So now we're going to continue with our second row, and this row is going to be our repeat for the remaining of our pattern. Okay, so pretty simple. So we're going to start by chaining 4, and then we are going to turn our work, and we're going to be skipping that chain space and we're gonna go straight to that next, to the top of that next double crochet, and this chain 4 is gonna count as a double crochet and chain 1. Right, so go to that next double crochet, and we're going to place a double crochet on top of it. Now we're going to go to that third stitch of our shell, and we're going to place another shell in that third stitch. So that means 5 double crochets into that same stitch. And basically what we're doing is we're placing the stitches on top of each other. So you can see how they stack right on top of each other. So the second row, you guys, is going to be the same pattern for the remaining of your scarf. Okay, so after your shell stitch, we're going to skip all the way to that next double crochet, and we're going to make a double crochet on top of that stitch. Now we're going to chain 1, and we're going to place a double crochet on that on top of that next double crochet. Again, you can see how the stitches stack on top of each other. So now we skip 1, 2, 3, and on that third stitch we make our shell stitch. Alright, so we continue doing the same thing. We go straight to that double crochet, make a double crochet on top of it, chain 1, and then make a double crochet on top of that next double crochet. And I hope by now you get the hang of the pattern. We pretty much stack the stitches on top of each other. So now we skip 3, and then we make another shell stitch. Okay, so we're going to continue doing that same pattern all the way across until you get to the end, and I will show you how to finish off that second row, and then you can get started on your scarf, because all you need to know is to get the hang of that second row. Alright guys, so here I made the last shell stitch of my row, and I'm gonna go straight to that double crochet and make a double crochet on top, and then you see this starting chain. I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to make my last double crochet on the third stitch or third chain right there, because remember that counted as a double crochet and chain 1 space. So I'm going to insert my hook and make a double crochet in that third chain. Okay, and that's how we close the second row, and you're pretty much ready to finish the rest of your scarf, you guys. So that is the row repeat that you will be repeating till the end, until you finish your scarf, or whatever size you want your scarf to be. Okay, here I'm doing my third row just to show you again. real quick. We chain 4, we turn our work, and then we skip that chain 1 and we go straight to that next double crochet, and we make it double crochet. Then we skip 2 stitches and make a shell stitch on that third one. Then we go straight to that next double crochet and make a double crochet on top of it. We chain 1, and then we make a double crochet on that next double crochet. Okay guys, so that's just a little recap of the pattern here, and I hope you guys got the hang of it, and I'll see you when you finish your whole scarf, the length of your scarf, and I show you how to do the tassels so you guys can finish it off. All right, so for the tassels, you guys, you can use a tassel maker if you have one, or you can use your hand. You can also use a piece of cardboard or like something like that that you can wrap your yarn over. But today I'm going to use my hand. And I did a total of, I believe it was, I wrapped it around 15 times. And then I cut my yarn. And then I'm just going to cut one side. Oops. I'm just going to cut straight on this side. Okay, I forgot to mention that you are going to need an extra strand, so maybe wrap around 16 or 17 and then grab one that's left over. And I'm just going to grab my strands, and then on this first square here, I'm just going to insert them. And then this strand here, I can just make it a part of the tassels here. See, like that. And this is a different way of me, for me to make tassels. I usually made them like the traditional way, if you ever seen how you make them. But I thought this was like an easier way to do it. So now I have my tassel in this square here, and then I'm just going to grab the extra one, and then I'm just going to tie it. So I'm gonna tie my tassel so it doesn't fall apart. I'm just gonna give it a tug, and you can double tie it if you want to. And then I just make that a part of my tassel, and you can trim them however you want, okay, to make them even at the end. So that's how you make the tassel. Pretty simple. And then I repeated the same process in the middle and in the end of my scarf here. So you will need a total of 6 tassels. So you need 3 on that side and then 3 on the other side. Okay, so same on this side. I placed them in the squares, like so you can see. And you guys, this scarf looks the same on both sides. So you could place your tassels on either side. I just thought this side actually looked a little better, like the double crochets. So maybe this is the wrong side, but you can't really tell because both sides look pretty similar. So I think either way, your tassels are going to look great. So that's pretty much it, you guys, for the scarf. It's pretty simple. Once you get, don't forget to weave in your ends. I always forget to do this. That's why you need your yarn needle here. But anyway, once you get the hang of the second row, you'll be fine, and it's going to be such an easy and fun pattern for you to make. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.